Hi everyone, welcome back to Ayumilove channel for another Awaken Chaos Era content. In today's video, I'll be reviewing Flarence, the new legendary fire hero that was released on the 25th of May 2022. And since I'm unable to summon Flarence during the 300% summon rate up, I'll be using my friend's support hero to demonstrate her capabilities. This guide will be going over her skills to understand how it works, the stats to prioritize based on her skill kit, the recommended gears to be equipped on her so she can perform at her best based on her role, and then showcasing Flarence in the areas such as the Arcane Dominator and No Man's Land dungeons. I won't be able to showcase Flarence in Arena, Void Tower, as these areas does not support the usage of the friend support system. Alright, so this is Flarence. She's a legendary fire hero from the Free Cities. So she has an S rating for health, A rating for speed, B rating for defense and attack, and C rating for critical rate. So based from this overview, we can know that she's not a damage dealer hero, but more towards to a supporter debuffer hero. Because as you know that she has an S rating for health and A rating for speed. With a high amount of speed, usually debuffers will go first in the battle to apply some negative effect to the enemies so that your damage dealers will deal more damage. So let's quickly go over her trait. So she has this trait known as the Lotus Flower, which grants an 80% area splash damage and restores 20% lost health to a team member next ability after every 2 basic abilities. So basically what this means is whenever your hero perform their basic attack for 2 times, they will gain this Lotus Flower unique buff, which is only provided by Flarence. Whenever they have this Lotus Flower buff on themselves, it will be represented with a golden frame around it to indicate it's a unique buff, and once they have this buff on them, they'll be able to perform this 80% area plus damage, and after that they will also restore 20% of their lost health to themselves. And in order to gain the next ascension, they need to be ascended 5 times in order to unlock the additional 20% area splash damage that boosts up the damage from 80 to 100%, as well as restoring the health by 10% or more, so from 20% to 30%. So this pairs well with damage dealers. The more damage they deal, they will deal extra damage to the minions, especially for single target damage dealers. So now the next ability from Flarence is the Dangerous Dancing. This one is her basic ability that deals 80% damage to 2 enemies and removes positive effect from the target. So if you want to deal against enemies who relies highly on buff to deal more damage to your team, or use the buff to protect themselves, you can use Flarence in this scenario to remove those positive effects. If you gear her in a curse set, you should be able to quickly remove a lot more positive effect from the enemy. And this one is quite useful like in areas such as Gemini Dragon, where the dragon takes damage from your heroes, you will gain 1 fury, and having this Dangerous Dancing in the Gemini Dragon, you will remove that fury entirely, as well as this one is also useful to remove the positive effect that is applied by the minions. This one is also quite useful for the Roaring Tulpa as well, to remove the counter attack damage that is provided by the minions in the towards the Roaring Tulpa boss. And the next special ability is the Rhasody of Return, which has a 3-turn cooldown. This special ability heals all team members based on the amount of this character's max health, with a 100% chance of transferring any stats reducing negative effect to a random enemy. So what this means is, whenever the enemy casts the ability that reduces the hero's defense or attack or anything based on these stats, Flarence will be able to transfer back. So usually this is quite useful in like certain areas such as the Roaring Tulpa, where the minions will be able to apply the AoE defense down that reduces the defense by 50%, and you can transfer back to the enemy's back. Same goes with when you're dealing against any enemies that relies heavily on debuffing your heroes, like decrease speed, defense down, attack down, critical rate down, focus down. Oh yeah, like the Gemini Dragon also apply the focus down. You can transfer it back to the dragon. This ability also perform an AoE healing, so you want to stack up as much health as possible on Flarence so that you can apply more healing to her allies. And finally, her ultimate ability known as the Rage Bloom, which has a 4-turn cooldown. This heals all team members based on the amount of this character's max health, which is similar to her special ability, the Rhasody of Return. And apart from that, it also applies a bonus attack buff to the target for 2 turns, and also applies increased damage taken on all enemies for 2 turns. What this bonus attack means is a buff that allows you to perform a bonus attack through their basic ability. It works similarly to curse set but at a 100% success rate, and this increased damage taken to the enemy. Basically, they will receive 30% more damage whenever your damage dealer deal damage to them. However, this one does not apply to debuffs such as like poison, plague, or ignite, as well as bleeding. Only direct damage. This bonus attack buff is quite useful if you pair pair her with heroes that is able to inflict negative effect through their basic abilities such as like Sentis, Ganjilo, and having this bonus attack will allow them to apply more poison through their basic ability. And also this one works very well with heroes that is capable of using the rage meter mechanics such as like Garo. So the more bonus attack they deal, they will increase their rage meter quickly. Then they will be able to like unlock certain feature in their skill. It will allow him to quickly go into the Asura state to deal more damage to the enemy. Alright, so based from Flarence's skills, I highly recommend you to prioritize on the 4 stats which are speed, health, focus, and defense. She needs a high amount of speed to go first before her allies as well as the enemies to cast the bonus attack buff and inflict the increased damage taken to the enemies so that your teammates will be able to deal the maximum amount of damage as possible to the enemies. And she needs a high amount of health so that she'll be able to perform massive amount of AoE healing through her special ability as well as her ultimate ability. And finally, she also needs to have some focus if you are relying on her to cast the increased damage taken to the enemies so that your heroes will deal more damage on top of their regular damage. And since she's pretty squishy, she'll need some defense stats so she can take several hits from the enemies before being defeated. If you're using Flarence in Arena, I highly recommend you to get Agility because it will boost up her success rate to deflect the attack, and this will help reduce the damage by 50%. So what gears are recommended for Flarence? I would personally recommend her gear her in a revival set such as like this one because it allows her to restore 10% of her max health at the start of the turn or 20% if under 50% health. This allows her to be used in multiple areas that requires a lengthy battle. And apart from that, you can use like Terra set like this one. You need a 2-piece set to gain this 50% health, so this will boost up her healing potential. And if you're able to gather a lot of this health percentage and you're lacking for defense stats, you can get the Vanguard set that boosts up her defense by 50%. Or if you want to build her as more towards a damage dealer plus a debuffer, you can gear her in a curse set so that she'll be able to remove those positive effects from the enemies. So let's quickly go over the gears from my friend's support system to see how she gear Flarence. So this is her weapon. She has a defense, focus, critical rate, and health. Ideally, this weapon will have some focus, speed, and health percentage, as well as defense percentage. Critical rate, attack, and critical damage is not useful for her, so primarily we get this one. And obviously, avoid those flat stats defense and attack because it does not work for her that much. And this is the helmet, which attack, precision, agility, and health are useful, but attack and precision is not that useful for her. And this is the chest plate with some health, critical damage, defense, and flat stats health. If you get 2 rolls on flat stats, I will recommend you to scrap the gear and just move on to another gear because this one will not provide you much benefits compared to rolling into the health percentage. And this is speed boots that allow her to go first in the battle, and this one has some resistance, health percentage, flat stats health, and critical rate. And this is a health ring with critical rate, focus, defense, and flat defense. Ideally, this would be focus, defense percentage, as well as agility and some resistance if you prevent her from being crowd control or being infected by the negative effect. And this is the health necklace with some focus, attack, health, and defense. This one is almost good, just that this one is not that good for her. So her glyphs are all maxed out. So let's check out Flarence's abilities in the Arcane Dominator and No Man's Land dungeon. Alright, so for the first showcase, I'll be using Flarence in the Roaring Tulpa stage 12, and I'll be pairing her with 3 attacker heroes who are Valeria, Sentis, and Ganjilo. Valeria is there to clear the first 2 waves, whereas for Ganjilo and Sentis, they're there to nuke down the boss with their poison. So you can speed tune your attacker hero to go first to clear the first 2 waves quickly, to quickly get to the boss at wave 3. So the target priority for this would be to target the boss, and I have disabled all of my heroes, my poisoner hero abilities, so they'll just prioritize on applying their poison debuff through the basic ability there. And this allows them to also get this Lotus Flower buff whenever they perform their basic ability twice. And as you will notice, this Lotus buff will have this golden frame around it. And Ganjilo has the first Lotus Flower buff. And once he does an attack, the minions beside the boss will also receive the splash damage. So whenever my heroes attack with the bonus attack buff, they will attack twice with their basic ability there. There's one bonus attack from Ganjilo and another bonus attack from Sentis to apply more stacks of poison. So this is one way of how to use heroes that has a unique effect on their basic ability. such as like poisoning heroes or attacker heroes that has a rage mechanic. So let's check out the battle report. So these are the damage dealt by my heroes, damage taken, as well as the healing dealt. So let's check out how Flarence performed in the Roaring Tulpa stage 14 in the Hell mode stage 2. So I'll be pairing Flarence with Gangelo, Garrel and Yolanda. Garrel will be my primary damage dealer to clear the first 2 waves, and Gangelo is there to take down the boss to help support Garrel there. And I have 2 supported heroes who are Flarence and Yolanda here, so that Flarence will provide the bonus attack to Garrel, so that he will be able to nuke down the enemy quickly. And while Yolanda is there to provide another bonus turn to Garrel, so that he will be able to take down the first mob easily. So that's the bonus attack from Gangelo with the buff. And the bonus attack is quite useful for those heroes that also provide supporting abilities such as like Yolanda. Whenever she performs a basic ability, she'll be able to also remove or cleanse away the negative effect. Whereas for Garrel, whenever he performs an additional attack through his bonus attack buff, then he'll be able to charge up his rage meter quickly to get into this Asura state to deal more damage to the enemies. Alright, so we are almost there to clear the second wave with most of the enemies with health below 50%. So the splash damage also helped to clear the 2 side minions quickly with the splash damage. And for the target priority in Roaring Tulpa stage 14 is also to target the boss. And as you notice, the boss already applies this defense down on my heroes, and that's where Flarence will come in to transfer those negative effects to the enemy, so that they will receive more damage through your damage dealer such as like Garrel here. Alright, the bonus attack just came in at the right time. So more poison applied by Gangelo here. Wait, Yolanda uses her bonus attack to cleanse away all those defense down, so we weren't able to transfer those debuff. Right, so the boss have already 7% health left to finish off by the poison. So there you have it, Flarence in Hell mode stage 2 in Roaring Tulpa. Right, so let's check out the battle report here. Here how much damage dealt. So the highest will be Garrel followed by Gangelo. Here are the damage taken as well as the healing dealt. Alright, so we are now in the Queen of Tides Arcane Dominator, which is the second dungeon that I'll be showcasing Flarence here. So let's see how she performs, although she's the weak affinity against these water affinity enemies here. I'll be pairing Flarence with 3 attacker heroes who are Zedlux, Gangelo and Sentis. Zedlux is here to clear the first 2 waves, whereas for Gangelo and Sentis, they're there to poison the boss with their poison debuff through their basic abilities. And I have already disabled both Gangelo and Sentis abilities here, so that they will primarily use their basic abilities during the boss wave as well. So Zedlux will clear the first 2 waves with his Fist of Carnage, and in order to clear this wave quickly, you will need to have at least 4000 attack and 200% critical damage for Zedlux to form the finishing kill. Alright, so we are now reaching the boss at the wave 3. So what makes Queen of Tides special is they employ a lot of positive effect on themselves to strengthen their defensive as well as their offensive capabilities. So as you can see here, the boss have applied one buff to herself through the Blessing of the Empress passive skill, and also the left side guard will apply this joint attack buff on the right side guard. So each time whenever the enemy allies perform an attack, the right side guard will perform a joint attack as well.
Never underestimate a lady.
So this is where Flarence's special ability comes in quite handy to strip away this positive effect. That's a joint attack from the crab. This massive amount of damage to Flarence here because she's the weak affinity. So Flarence uses her basic ability to strip away that buff. So now the boss will not be able to stack up 4 buff on herself to cast to unlock this Dragon Bomb, which makes her able to strip away those positive effects from your heroes. So let's check out the battle report. So these are the damage dealt by my heroes, the damage taken, as well as the healing dealt. So based on Flarence's performance in the Queen of Time stage 12, she's able to allow her allies to deal more attacks through their basic abilities, which allows you to speed farm the dungeon quickly with poison damage dealers such as like Angelo and Sentis. However, she's pretty squishy, as you know that she receives a hefty amount of damage from the water affinity heroes here. Hence, I would not recommend you to use her in the Hell mode stage 2, or also known as the stage 14, because it's quite difficult to sustain her there unless there's a new hero that has been introduced in the game to mitigate this issue. Alright, so we are now in the Wish of the Wind, stage 12 in the Arcane Dominator. So I'll be showcasing Flarence deck. So in this team, I'll be using Gangela and Sentis as my main damage dealer for the boss, whereas for Zlux, he's there to clear the first 2 waves. And I have disabled both Gangela and Sentis abilities, so they'll probably use the basic ability to poison the boss as well as the enemies here. And in order for your damage dealer such as Zlux to go before the enemies, I think you need to have around 155 or 160 speed to go before these minions here to save some time to avoid having to see their attack animation here. This will help you save around about 5 to 10 seconds. So after clearing wave 2, you'll be greeted the boss and in the wave 3. So the target priority is to take out the right enemy first, followed by the boss. Because the right enemy, the Wing Guard, will be able to apply a massive amount of shield to protect the boss from damage, especially from your poison damage dealers here. But take your time to nuke down the right Wing Guard here. So the buff that is placed by the enemy here is the no positive effect as well as the bleeding. Unfortunately, Flarence isn't able to transfer this debuff or negative effects with her special ability here. He is only able to transfer those negative effects that affects the hero stats. Whenever Flarence performs her basic ability, she is unable to remove this buff from the Wish of the Wind. I'm not sure whether this is a bug that needs to address. So my heroes' health are pretty low right now, so probably Flarence healing will be handy to boost up my heroes' health here. So that's the bonus attack buff from Flarence to provide more attacks for my poison damage dealers. So I think around this round, the boss will be defeated by the poison. Right, so there you have it. So let's check out the battle result based on this battle. So these are the damage dealt by my heroes, followed by the damage taken, as well as the healing dealt. So the most healing will be from Flarence. Alright, moving on to the third dungeon in the Arcane Dominator, we will be showcasing Flarence in the Ash Magisteria stage 12. So I'll be pairing Flarence along with Natalia, Sentis and Joseph. Joseph is there to cleanse away the bomb that is applied by the boss. Natalia is there to clear the first 2 waves as well as the mobs around the boss, and Sentis will be there to support Natalia with her poison damage. And Flarence on the other hand will heal her allies as well as to apply the bonus attack buff. Alright, so the first wave is cleared. Moving on to the second wave. Alright, so we are now at the boss wave at wave 3. So the boss will always start off by summoning 5 minions around him, and you will need to clear them as soon as possible before he uses his sacrificial cannon, because this will deal an true damage. Alright, so the boss tried to apply the bomb on Natalia, however it was being resisted due to the immune buff that she has placed by her passive skill.
My next
So there come in Flarence's bonus attack buff. Now both Sentis and Natalia will be able to perform additional attack. So that's one poison from Sentis and another one from the bonus attack. The benefit of having this bonus attack buff on Natalia is she'll be able to quickly gather more buff to herself, because her basic ability will allow her to get one random stat up buff to boost up her damage.
so easy.
And she has a unique trait that boosts up her damage for every buff she has. So for one buff she has, she will gain additional 10% damage up to 40% damage. So that's the bomb applied by the boss. And Joseph is able to cleanse it away using his special ability. Florence's special ability will not be able to transfer this bomb debuff to the boss, since it's not a stat reducing negative effect. So now Natalia already uses her ultimate ability, so now she needs to rely on her basic ability to wipe out these 5 enemies here, because she has sufficient buff to wipe out the minions here.
So easy.
So there you have it. So let's check out the battle result here for Ash Magisteria stage 12. So most of the damage dealt by Natalia, followed by Sentis. So if you're looking for a hero who can heal and also amplify your team's damage output, Flarence will be a good candidate for this team. Alright, so we are now in the No Man's Land dungeon. We'll start off with Bane Wraith at the highest stage, which is stage 11. So Flarence will be accompanied by Bulin, Jacob, and Scarlet. And the spells I'll be using will be Guy's Renewal and Sundering Purgatory. So Bulin is here to clear the first wave of wolves, whereas for Jacob and Scarlet, they're there for their bonus attack and joint attack to take down the boss shield quickly. So what is Flarence's role here is to provide bonus attack buff so that my heroes will have additional attack to quickly take down the boss shield. And the bonus attack synergizes very well with Bulin, because the more attack that your hero can perform during this boss dungeon wave, they'll be able to deal more lightning damage through Bulin's induction negative effect. So as you notice, each time my heroes attack, the enemy will get struck by this lightning buff. A bonus attack also helps to allow Scarlet to rack up more bleeding negative effect, so the boss will receive more damage through this negative effect. And whereas for Jacob, the more attack he gains, the faster he can charge up his rage meter, which is represented with the orange bar below his health bar. So the more rage he has, then he'll be able to perform his ultimate ability with more bonus turn. The more bonus turn he gains, the more joint attack that Scarlet can perform along with him. This will also help to synergize with Bulin's rage meter, because the more attack the hero do, this will charge up Bulin's rage meter faster, so she can perform additional joint attack with them to reapply the induction negative effect. And this induction negative effect will allow all my heroes to deal extra damage through this lightning attack. As you notice, each time my heroes attack, will gain this enemy will gain this lightning attack. Flarence is quite useful here because he's able to heal up my allies if my Guy's Renewal healing does not provide sufficient healing here. So let's check out the battle report. So these are the damage dealt by Bulin because of the high amount of damage dealt through my heroes' attacks here. Next, we'll move on to the Flame Lizard No Man's Land dungeon. We'll start off with stage 11 to see how to speed farm with these heroes. So Flarence will be accompanied by Charles, Aura, as well as Natalia. Charles is used here because he's here to taunt the boss, and when the boss is taunted, the boss will receive extra 50% more damage. And the interesting part is this boss, for stage 10 and 11 for Flame Lizard, they have already removed this immune crowd control ability. So probably this is the only boss in the game that is able to be crowd controlled. If you do not have Charles, you can use Lona Beliza. However, Charles is quite accessible since he's an elite hero. He just disables his basic abilities so that he'll keep on taunting the boss here. Aura is here to apply the defense down, and Natalia is there to provide a high amount of damage to the boss. Flarence synergizes well with Natalia because each time Natalia attacks, she'll gain additional buff through her basic abilities. Now moving on to the third No Man's Land dungeon, we have the Wrathful Flood. So for this dungeon, I'll be using Flarence, Gangelo, Bulin, and Jonathan here. The spells will be the same, which are Guy's Renewal as well as the Sudden Purgatory. Gangelo is here to poison the boss, Bulin is here to wipe out the first wave, whereas for Jonathan, he's there to apply the unhealable debuff to the boss so that he will not be able to recover his health each time he ends his turn. And also since Flarence is pretty weak against water affinity heroes, Jonathan is very useful here to protect her with his AoE shield. So each time the boss performs an AoE attack, this will trigger Jonathan's AoE shield to protect his allies. Currently the Flarence I'm using here is not really get well, so that's why you notice that the Flarence here died too quickly here. However, this is not a problem if you're using poison damage dealer here to deal massive amount of damage to the boss through the bonus attack buff. Alright, so there you have it, Wrathful Flood under like 1 minute. So here's the battle report for the damage dealt, damage taken, as well as the healing dealt here. Alright, finally, for the fourth No Man's Land dungeon, we have Dashmir, the Lord of the Holy Light. I'll be using Flarence along with Bulin, Decrease, and Gangelo. So Bulin is here to wipe out the first wave quickly. And even though my support heroes doesn't do much damage, the lightning damage from Bulin's attack will help quickly take down these minions. And Bulin is here to remove the positive effect from the boss, supported by Decrease. This Decrease is also capable of removing multiple buff from the boss here. And if Decrease somehow misses his attack due to the dodge ability, as you notice here, then Flarence can help to chip in with her basic ability, because Flarence's abilities also is capable of removing one positive effect. Flarence is quite useful here in this scenario because she's able to heal and also provide bonus attack. So the more bonus attack that my heroes can apply, they will be able to quickly take down those positive effects that is applied by the boss each time he ends his round here. And also this also helps Gangelo, my poison damage dealer, to quickly take down the boss health with his poison debuff through his basic abilities. For this dungeon, I have disabled Decrease as well as Gangelo ability, so they'll just focus on using their basic abilities to remove the positive effect and also focus on applying poison. Alright, additional bonus attack buff from my heroes here, and there you have it, Lord of the Holy Light cleared I think under like 2 minutes. This is the end of the showcase of Flarence in the Arcane Dominator and the No Man's Land dungeon. If you found this video helpful in deciding on whether to build her, give these videos a thumbs up. Also do subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay up to date whenever I upload a new video on my YouTube channel. So what are your impressions after seeing her in action in the areas that I have showcased? Leave a comment below to share your thoughts on how you would utilize Flarence in your account if you manage to summon her. Based on my limited testing, I find her quite useful in speed farming the highest stages of the No Man's Land dungeon. The bonus attack helps a lot in enabling her teammates to deal multiple attacks to charge up their rage meter, as well as inflicting more debuffs on the enemies with their basic ability. I think she will perform really well for the guild boss, arena, and certain parts of the Void Tower for her bonus attack. Apart from that, she performs amazing for the Roaring Tulpa Helmut 2, which now makes it slightly faster and safer to speed farm Tulpa if you do not have seedling in your account. He could also be used to speed farm the Gemini Dragon, but it's kinda difficult for me to test her out since I do not have her on my account, as it requires specific speed tuning to get it working. You can check out Rex Hart, an ace content creator who manages to get it to work with Gangelo, Santis, Celestial Kane, and Flarence. If you would like to support me, you can donate to my PayPal account or become a patron at patreon.com/Ayumilove. To learn more about Awaken Chaos Era, you can visit my website at ayumilove.net. And if you like up on the game, you can also join my Discord server where I have a link below in the video description to chat with me there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!